guys, we have parts, so here we go again. Resting day yesterday, we had parts rolling in. Prop shaft, we've got the actually broke down the front drag link and everything, that's all done now. Blah blah blah, more drag link stuff. These are the actual connectors for down here. That sister spring, torque spring, whatever you want to call it. Our plates here, I think I've shown that yesterday. That's ready to go on. And yeah, so let's just knuckle down and get into it. Well, it's been a few days since we did anything on this. But I've gotten some parts in. Got the fixing kit for the steering column, obviously. So that went on about that went on a little while ago. Did that this morning. The fitting kit came in for the brake master cylinder. Unfortunately, although they included everything, they did not include the banjo bolts. So yeah. Anyway, so that is now on order. We have got all of the fitting kit and everything for the drag link, so we can get that put together. Got the shackle for the rear there, not the shackle, the plate for the bottom of the little as jet goes by. So I have the mounting plates for that spring, so we can get rid of the old one. As you can see, I also stuck the shock absorbers on. But again, we had a problem because the actual that goes on there. There is a large washer that goes on there with a split pin, and ordered 8, they sent 1. So you know, there we go. Hopefully today and tomorrow we will get the rest of the steering all complete basically. Only thing that's not going to be done is this is still, well, it's just nipped up, it's not cranked right down because this has to be adjusted like up or down to fit in the body, so that's just being left for the moment, but it's bolted into place. Okay, so I'm still working on this front suspension. Got the drag link and everything all set up now nicely. I've got the arms to go in yet, but what I'm working on at the moment is a stabilizer bar, this torque spring, whatever you want to call it. One of the problems I've run into is this reproduction bolt on the top here. I probably can't see it there, but that's where the split pin goes in. Unfortunately, the nut goes way past the split pin. So what I'm doing is a couple of spacers. I'm going to play around with these, see if one of these will work. And just to get that nut in the right position. See, that one there will work pretty good. So I'll probably, well, yeah, the sun's shining on the down camera lens, on the camera screen. Yeah, I'll probably go with something like that. Just give this a clean up, grease it up, and then away we go. So yeah, that's the only problem with reproduction parts. Sometimes they're just not quite there. But well, it was the same with these this drag link. That is the one that came with it, goes in there, but I had to use the original because, where are we at? Let's see, those grooves that are cut into it for the split pin aren't deep enough in the reproduction one. The actual original goes way down to about, almost down to there, about halfway, give or take. So yeah, it's reproduction is okay. sometimes it's not. Sometimes you've got to mess about with it a little bit. I mean, this would have worked, but what I had to do is you probably take a grinder to it, grind that out, and then clean up the threads, which isn't ideal, but you know, that's the way it goes. Anyway, let's get back to this. That in now. What I've got to do next is tighten the spring back up, because I did have to loosen it off to get this torque spring or whatever. I forget what they called it now. It's basically acts like a slapper bar. Stops the actual torquing up. But yeah, now that that's done, I had to loosen this off again. So obviously this is in the air. So I'll get that spring tightened back up again, and then I may as well leave it while it's up in the air. I may as well start fitting the control arms. So we will have steering. Excellent. Well, there's primary assembly done. Obviously I've got to everything's got to be tightened up and then adjusted, but we are basically there, and she's looking good. Obviously steering does work. That's always a help. But yeah, it's coming along, it's getting there, all of the above. Okay, so that's everything in now and tightened. Brakes all tightened up, and yeah. So once setting up the pedals now, that's the next thing. The column still is loose because obviously that needs to be set up when the tub goes on, but yeah, cruising along nicely. We have had a very busy day. As mentioned earlier, steering is completely built. Shock absorbers are now all on. You've got the pedals in. Well, the levers for the pedals. Got brake and clutch. Most of the clutch mechanism in. Currently I'm on mounting the transmission and transfer case, so I'm going to continue with that. Prop shaft, I've got the rear prop shaft, I've got universal joints to go in that. I've done, which one is it? Done the rear, still got the front to do, but I want to get this transfer case and everything mounted first. So yeah, I mean once that's mounted and the rear prop is on, that's basically everything from the steering column back complete. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so once again we are back at doing universal joints. I've got one for there, one for there, so I'm going to get in and get those put in, but these are proper old ones. That is a very old style circlip in there. Yeah, very different from the ones that the later joints come with, but anyway, enough of me warbling about that. Let's get this put together. Well, there's the old one out. Certainly seen better days, that's for sure. Anyway, let's get the nice new one put in there. This one complete. Very nice. Let's just stick it over there. And we'll move to the next. Okay, yeah. That was just a quick overview of how I do ball joints. Now, obviously there's different ways to do this. Everybody has their own way. This is mine. It always works for me. First thing I do is I take the caps and I pack them with extra grease. It's just something I always do. Then I put one cap into there as far as I can, hand tight. Put it into the vise, clamp it up until it just starts to come through. Then I slip this guy in, making sure that he's seated all the way into the cap. Put a socket on the end and then wind him in until it pushes us through here and all the way until this guy is touching the vise. I then take the second cap and basically do the same thing. I put that cap on there and then I press him in as far as he will go. Now, one thing I don't do at this point, I don't centralize them. I come to this top side, I then put the spring clip in, then I push him all the way back until he's seated against that spring clip. Come back to this side, put the spring clip in here, and then I centralize it. So that's just the basic way I do it. So, you know, obviously there are other ways, but this is mine and it always works for me. There we go, now I've got the second cap into place, and I just slowly wind him in with the vise. Till he is nicely seated. Now you may notice he is stuck there. He does not want to move. That's okay. I will then go and put the circlip in this side. Then I can move him and free him up a little bit. But yeah, this has always worked for me. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so I've got him pushed into there. And I've got him pushed into there. Now if you can see clearly there, I think you can see on the camera, the circlip isn't quite seated correctly. That's okay. All I wanted to do was get this pushed through a little bit further so we can then start compressing him in, and it's just a case of just gradually nudging him across. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to release that circlip and then get him to sitting into the groove correctly. Okay, and there he is. Focus, there we go. Now I can start tapping the other side through. I'll push it a little bit with a socket, and final adjustments will be made with a dead blow hammer there. Okay, I don't know how well you can see that, but I've actually got him pushed in slightly below the groove the circlip drops into. I'll now get the circlip into place, and then I'll use a dead blow hammer to basically tap him back and forth, get everything nicely centralized. So how I centralize it is, basically just sit him nicely in the vise there, dead blow hammer, just give a tap to that side, flip him over, tap to that side, and if you see closely it'll seat the cap right up against the circlip on both sides, and then we've got just a nice bit of movement there. Now before I actually install this in the Jeep, I'll clean all these surfaces down just to be sure, make sure everything's nice and clean before we put the caps on, because this one uses these, basically these retaining clamps. Pick him up, it's come in handy as a spare. So, yeah, I'll do that next. Then I'll wire brush this down. Obviously there's little bits of paint and everything on there. We want this nicely greased. And then, yeah, that's it. Shaft will go in and it'll be all connected up. Front prop shaft now completely installed. So, next thing I'm going to move to this clutch mechanism. And I want to get that sorted. And I'm just going to go kind of around everything, just double check everything. And then we are almost to the point of lifting the engine into place. So, yeah, very, very happy with the progress today. So, let's get this clutch mechanism sorted out. I'm going to have a quick look at the manual, see what we're doing in there, just to double check what I'm looking at. I've got everything correct, and then we will start putting it together. Well, now that the tow is up and it is painted, I'm going to leave that to dry, and we're going to get on with this front bumper. Now I've fitted some of it, and one of the interesting things about it is, I don't even know if you'll be able to see from here now, but It actually has a piece of oak running through the middle of it. Anyway, what I've done is I've got it all bolted up on that end, and I've still got a hole to drill here, which basically drills through the wood, and I'll get that bolted up. Then move over here to prop shaft. That's the next thing to get done. I need to replace this UJ here. Already done this one up here. That one's all sorted out, so yeah, we'll move on. We'll get this done next. Well, there we go. There's the prop shaft now complete. Now, I did not shoot any video on this, and like I explained earlier, I'm on a tight deadline with this, so I really don't have time to set cameras up and everything, but there are plenty of videos on how to put these universal joints together, so just Google it on YouTube, well, search it on YouTube and you'll find, there's lots of information out there, so they're all pretty much the same. I mean, there's not a lot of variation in how these things work. It's an old technology that just works, so, Anyway, let's get this put on the Jeep. Oh, I've got the front of the prop shaft in place. She isn't buttoned up yet. Haven't got the rear done yet because we need to be able to spin the transmission, and the jack is holding the transmission and I don't want to jack the back end up yet. So yeah, we'll get the front end buttoned up and then we'll do the rear. The shaft is now installed. So this entire rear end of the Jeep now complete. Obviously the transmission is still sitting back a little bit, but that's due to, well, the engine isn't in, so. But what I'm going to do next is, I don't know, what am I going to do next? I've got here in the front bumper, if you can see where we are. You can see the wood in there. I've still got these two holes to drill out. They've got to go all the way through. One's for a toe point and the other one's for a cranking handle. Bell housing is to go on. I'll get that done today. Now we'll move back to the tub and start maybe working on some of the wiring. Well, now with the bell housing installed. So next thing I've got to do is, as I pointed out earlier, I've got to drill those two holes there. There's a hole to drill over there for that clutch pedal, for the spring to mount onto. And there is one shock absorber, I'm not sure which one it is, front one there, it needs the actual lower mount drilling out. So yeah, all in all, not a bad morning. We've got that drilled now and fitted, so we're really just about there with the tub. Andy's gone to get the engine today, so he's off up to his parents, so we'll see how it goes. I might get the engine into this tomorrow, not sure yet, but as for everything else, well, basically up to this point, up to the transmission, we are done. We've got one split pin to put in front shock absorber there. We need to drill the hole out. I don't have a drill bit small enough. And otherwise we're just ready to stick the engine in. So, very cool. Well, there she is. The old power plant for this old girl. Now, that one there, that's an original Ford. This one is a later one, and this is the one that's going in. That is for another project, but yeah, so there's bracketry and everything to change over on this one, but it's basically the same engine. It's this is the French built unit, and there's slight differences, but it's close enough. It's the architecture is almost identical, so I think this may have a little bit more power. I'm not sure, but like I said, I'm not an expert on these, so Anyway, so what I'm doing at the moment is I'm getting all the old bell housing and everything off. I'm going to switch all the bracketry on the front. Going to pressure wash her shortly. and then just give it a good clean down and then get it ready for all the new stuff to go on it. There she goes, it's all pressure washed down. Oh yeah, can't see it for the sun. Now there, yeah, she's looking okay there. And we're going to let this dry and then we'll give her a coat of paint and she's ready to go in. Do have this front pulley to change over. I might do that first, then this one. And get the clutch and everything in, get it painted, and then yeah, we're on a roll. Just quickly looking at the clutch mechanism here. Okay, so this is all correct. Yep, that's in the correct place. I do have to lubricate that before I actually connect it up. Cable, and it's that little bracket there that we're missing. Got to go look for that. I believe it was ordered, but I've got to find it. So yeah. While we are moving along, I cannot find the clutch fork. I know there was one ordered. So it basically goes between there and there. So it kind of connects that up. Obviously this still is not straight because the engine isn't in. Once the engine's in, sitting on its mounts, that will sit nice and straight. But anyway, the fork itself is in and you can get access to it. So as I'm putting the engine in, if I inadvertently move it off the mount, I can still get it put back into place. So got the engine there, got the other the Ford GPG, got the Ford GPW engine sitting over there. I'm going to get the engine crane over, get this strapped up, and we're going to lift her. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the engine forward somewhat, and then I'll bring the body to it, well, the chassis to it. So that's the theory. Oh, we're getting close, but obviously I need to extend the arm on the crane. So I thought I might have just been able to snug it in there, but it's just not quite long enough. So let's move the chassis back, drop the engine down, and we will lift the crane bring it out another notch. Oh, we are having to get a little bit creative here. The boom on the hoist isn't quite long enough, so what I've got is I've got a block of wood under there. I'm going to lower the engine down and I'm going to get the engine set up correctly on the block, and then we should be able to just roll everything forward and hopefully get it lined up and in. So yeah, admittedly should not have put the front bumper on. That said, we really needed to get the front bumper on to make sure the frame was nice and square at the front before we got the engine in. It's a bit of a catch-22, but you know, it is what it is, so let's just suck it up and get on with it. Got the engine in. Now, it's not completely finished, but I've got engine mounts there to bolt up. Same on the other side, and got all the transmission mounts to retighten because I had to loosen some of them off to get this to actually go sit in place. So all in all, not a bad day's work. I'm happy with this. Got the front prop shaft completely done. Got the engine into place, and yeah. So this is a good day. I'm happy. Did I mention I'm happy? Put up a bit of a fight, but I went away, I took an hour, had something to eat, a cup of coffee, came back, and boom, dropped straight in. So, you know, sometimes that's how it works out. You need to take a break just for a little while, just to, you know, get yourself back into the whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm packing up now. I'm going to go take a shower and yeah, call it a day. So tomorrow Of course, we'll finish these engine mounts off, and we'll get to bolting everything up, and then, well, I think we're there on the chassis. I think once that's done, spin it around, we may be able to get the body in here, get the tub sat into place. So, yeah, very, very excited at this point. It's, I mean, set the tub on there and it's going to be just an instant transformation. So, anyway, that's it for tonight. Well, here we are back at it again. First thing we're going to do is get these engine mounts lined up and bolted down, and then we're going to work our way around the entire engine and transmission, making sure everything's tight and where it should be. The other thing we're going to do today is there is a starter motor. We've got to find it, but there is one here somewhere, so we'll get that installed. You're missing the clamp for the distributor, but yeah, we'll get one of those sorted out. We'll either see if we can buy one, or we'll just make one. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward piece of metal. That has to come off because this does not have a condenser. And yeah, it's just basically working our way around it. Just removing stuff that doesn't need to be there, like that bracket there, and tightening everything up. So yeah, the problem we ran into was that hole there was not actually drilled out properly. The top plate was drilled, the bottom one wasn't. I never realised that until I actually went to put this engine mount on. Couldn't get the bolt in, so I had to take this off and re-drill it. So, but yeah, little things like this, when you're dealing with reproduction parts, it's something that you're just going to run across, so you just got to roll with it. Okay, so a few more bits done to it. Yeah, everything is now nicely buttoned up. We're going to roll her out there, get the tub lifted on, bring her back in, and then we can start doing some body work on the tub tomorrow. Well, as you can see by the water on the floor and the puddle outside, it did begin raining there, but we did manage to get the tub and everything sat on the chassis. It turned around and all pushed back into the building. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to start working on this tomorrow, but for today, basically just about at the end of what we can do. Got the starter motor sitting down there, and the dynamo is over here on the bench. He's sitting down there. We do need fixing kits for both of these. We've been through, this is one of the boxes of nuts and bolts that came with the vehicle, so we've been through all of that and we can't find them. So they are specific to the starter and the dynamo. I keep wanting to call it an alternator, it's a dynamo. Dynamo in particular, it's like a sleeved bolt. The actual shank of the bolt, the unthreaded part, is a larger diameter than the threaded part, so it's not like you can just stick any bolt in. But we're okay with that. Also, we found an old distributor. Friend dropped by with it, and what do you do with it? There it is. And we have the clamp that we're missing, so it's cleaned up, but we've got it. That's the main thing. The other thing that I did find, and I am going to do next, or going to do last before I wrap this video up, is the clevis pin for the clutch. It just got put to one side, and you know, I couldn't find it. But yeah, what I'm going to do is roll the chassis forward, get it out of the puddle that's in the doorway, fit that clevis pin, and then that's it for now. I'm going to start fitting the tub, but I do have a separate video coming on the tub. It's made up of multiple different parts, so because I've been doing a little bit here, a little bit there. But that'll be posted probably after this video here. Anyway, that is it for now. Oh, you may be able to see we've got a couple of the panels out there. Yeah, anyway, that's it for now. Yeah, like, subscribe. Subscribing and liking keeps the algorithm happy. That's the main reason I battle on about it, and a lot of other YouTubers do the same. But anyway, thank you for watching and have a good one.